See the smoke in the trees, in the air, on the breeze. See the fly in the flame. It's a crime, it's a game. Let it rise over the mountains. In the United States, you know, it's ironic. We go into Iraq looking for chemical weapons and weapons of mass destruction. But we know where they are. They're in the United States. The United States has stockpiles of chemical weapons. And near where I live, in Utah, which is surrounded by the desert, the Army has built a chemical weapons incinerator. And this operates 24 hours a day. They take these chemical weapons and they are burning them into some incinerator with fire. And the Army says it's safe, but I don't trust the Army, and neither do a lot of people. And it's been closed and shut down many times because of accidents and this and that. So the chemical weapons go up the chimney, out the smokestack, and into the air. And this is right near Salt Lake City, where over 1 million people live. And the air goes from west to east. And I live in Park City, which is in the mountains, to the east of Salt Lake City. So it's in the air there, even if you can't see it, it's in the air. And so that's why I started writing the song. See the smoke in the trees, it's in the air, it's on the breeze. Don't breathe in, don't breathe out. Let it rise over the mountains, let it spread out to the sea. And I started writing it about that. And then it was interesting, you know, when I got to the bridge of the song, because the bridge gets very heavy, and it's very different than the rest of the song, I started thinking of a solution, and I just started singing, we'll build a brand new factory that cleans the air we breathe. We'll build a brand new factory that only replicates the trees. We'll build a brand new factory. Because trees, as we all know with photosynthesis, they breathe in CO2, which causes global warming, and they breathe out oxygen. So the trees, or the lungs of the earth, are a solution. And so I started thinking, you know, if we built factories all over the planet, and we covered the planet with these factories that breathe in CO2 and breathe out oxygen, you know, this would save the planet. And so I put that into, that was the whole kind of industrial bridge of the song. And then the song ends with, you know, see the sun to the east, it's bringing life, it's bringing peace. Again, the song to me is optimistic. It ends with a solution, and the solution is there. The sun is a solution. The trees, the sun and the trees, and they live together and they keep the planet healthy. Brand New Factory is all about carbon recapture, which is capturing the carbon and breathing out oxygen. And then I've actually spoken with some scientists who worked on the chemical weapons incinerator near Salt Lake City. And he said to me, we could do it. We could totally do it. If we can burn chemical weapons and put it through a process so that by the time it comes out of the chimney, it's clean air, then we can definitely come up with a process that takes CO2, carbon dioxide, and by the time it comes out, it's oxygen. We can do it. We just need the money. Let it spread out to the sea. Let it rise over the mountains. Let it spread out to the sea. Yeah, I think that we all have to be responsible. We all are responsible, for sure. You know, it's interesting in the music world, you know, when people started realizing, wait a second, they have this plastic case that every CD comes in. We need to stop doing that, because eventually people throw away the plastic case. So people in the music business just started making the CD cases out of paper, hopefully recycled paper, so that eventually it biodegrades. So the person that produces it, even if I'm going to sell this to somebody on the other side of the world, it's biodegradable. And that's the same thing you're talking about here. If we're selling products to Africa, and the products are going into these gigantic, we call them landfills, and they're toxic or they're wasteful and they're building up, then the people that make the products, it's the responsibility of the person that creates the product to make sure that it's environmentally sensitive. If you don't see the signs, then you're blind. That we have to change the way we live our lives. Every single person on this planet, all 6 billion people, that everything we do has to change. From driving cars. You know, we've known about global warming for decades, but we're still driving cars. We know that these plastic bottles are polluting the world right now, and yet we still make them. You still go into the gas station, and there are refrigerators filled with them. So we have to stop. We have to change. You know, my son Ian is 13, and he's becoming more and more aware. He's always been aware. You know, he has me as a father. So, but he said, you know, the Mayan calendar ends in 2012, Dad. And a lot of kids in school are saying the world will end in 2012. I mean, I always get choked up when I think of my children when they say things like that to me. So I said to him, well, you know, perhaps the Mayan calendar ends in 2012 because human beings, as we know it, will change completely. And it's going to be the end of the way human beings were. And it will be the beginning of an entirely new way of living on this planet. I said, I think that the Mayan calendar ends then because there's going to be such a major shift, change, that everything's going to be brand new. We're going to be starting. Spiritually, people are opening up to all kinds of new and I would say better, but just different ways of looking at life. And the environment is not just a bunch of tree huggers and not just Greenpeace, but everybody in this planet has to think about the environment now. And everything we do affects everybody else on this planet. So I think perhaps what you're talking about, Ian, my son, I said, is that life as we know it is going to continue, but then in a whole new way. The first thing is that we recognize that we're all the same. That we all love music, we all have families and children, we have friends, we have recreation, and we're not all different, you know, that we're all the same. I live in a neighborhood with people from South America, and people from Mexico, and people from North America. It's a very diverse little community. And I'm always hearing music from other places. I don't always like it, you know. It doesn't mean I have to like it. But the thing I like is that I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting here listening to music, and they're over there listening to music. We're all listening to music, you know. They love their children. They have families. They have friends. They have work and play, and they have their music. So for me, it's kind of a unifying thing. It shows that we're no different. You know, when I travel, people are much more similar than different. You know, at a Passover service we had, because we celebrate some Jewish holidays. I don't observe Judaism, but sometimes we do some holidays. And the thing I said was, you know, that the Muslims and the Jews and the Christians, we all come from the same place. And we have so many things that are the same and that are similar, and just a handful of things, 1 or 2, 3 things that are different. And yet we go to war because of the few things that are different, rather than thinking of all the things that we have are the same. So for the first thing I think of when you ask me that question is that music reminds me that we're all the same. If everybody would spend 10% of their day doing something to make the world a better place. I don't know why I've always been that way, but I always have been that way. Ever since I was little, I looked up to people like Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi. These were heroes for me. And you know, my son said to me, again, he asked me, are we going to leave the United States if McCain becomes president? And I said, did Martin Luther King run away from the United States when he was growing up here and he was treated terribly by the whites? No, he stayed And he tried to make it a better country, and he did. He made it a better place. Did Gandhi leave India because they were being treated badly? No. I said, we're not going to leave. We're going to stay, and we're going to try and make things better. Most recently, my son Ian and I worked together to have a dog park in Park City. He wrote me an email 3 years ago. He was visiting my mother in Florida, that he was at this beautiful dog park. It's a 5-acre park just for dogs to run with no leash, no collar. He said, wouldn't it be great if we had one of these in Park City? So I wrote an email to the mayor and the city council, and I signed it Ian, and I sent it. So by the time he came home, it was already to be voted on. And we went and we spoke, and they voted yes. And for 3 years, we've been working with them. And just 2 weeks ago, they cut the ribbon, and there's a picture in the newspaper of Ian with the mayor cutting the ribbon. So he has learned how to take a dream and make it happen. So that's also having a dream and making it happen. It's not just about music. And hopefully I've instilled that on my son, that you can dream something, and I've showed him this is how you make it happen. Specifically with this, you know. But now you can take any dream and you can make it happen.
Let it rise over the mountain. Let it spread out to the sea. Let it rise over the mountains. Let it spread out to the sea. Let it rise over the mountains. Let it spread out to the
Hi, I'm Rich Wyman, a musician from the United States. You better watch out for One We TV. Look at onewee.com and get inspired.